This is Jake Nomada with Invest LATAM. Today we are in Arcadia del Este, the only building in Costa del Este that's legal for short-term rentals. This is due to Ley 80 in Panama, which basically means any rental shorter than 45 days is illegal unless you are in a tourist area like Casco Viejo or the building has an Airbnb license like this building. So this building, this is a project by Empresas Burn, one of the top developers in Panama. We're gonna do a tour today, and then after that, we'll talk a little bit about use cases, numbers, and things of that nature. One thing to note is we will talk a lot about the value of this building for Airbnbs, but that there are also a number of units available for resale. Today we're gonna check out a 2-bed, 2-bath here in Arcadia del Este. All right, so as you come into this apartment, you can see it's really well done. It's a newer apartment, very modern, but I think before we get into this tour, it's important to explain, this is an efficiency unit, right? This is made specifically for a short-term rental. This is made specifically for an Airbnb. So just kind of have that in mind when we do this tour. Inside the kitchen here, you can see it's quite well done. Nice appliances, everything you would need to cook. There's even an air fryer, a blender, so very nice there. Over here, even though this is an efficiency unit, right? We do have a full washer and dryer in here. So even though this unit is, made for Airbnb, you're not gonna have any issues doing your laundry, things like that. Table here, bar stools right here, and then we kind of flow into the living room here. And again, very basic, but very well done. We've got a nice sofa, television, and then we'll flow into the master bedroom here. As we come into the master bedroom, very modern, nice design. We have a queen bed here. Now, I think you need to know there is enough space for a king bed in this room as well. Got the television here. There's some open space over there as well. You could probably get a desk in. That might be nice for people renting Airbnb, remote workers, things like that. And then as we come in here, we've got a really nice closet. For an Airbnb, I would be very happy with this much storage. This is also really nice, having a little safety box here. All right, as we come into the bathroom, it's a nice bathroom. I would say the only thing here is we don't have a dual sink, but other than that, everything's very nice. Again, this is a very new project, so everything is gonna be clean in there, modern, functional, no issues. All right, let's check out the other bedroom here. It's a little bit smaller than the master, but pretty comfortable overall. We got a queen bed here. There's not a lot of space for anything else in this room. And then in here, we've got the second bathroom. All right, we're in the gym here in Arcadia del Este, and I think Empresas Burn did a really good job with this gym. Over here, we've got the back station. We've got pull downs, rows, dumbbells, kettlebells, nice squat rack. There's some medicine balls and things over here. They got the cardio equipment, leg curls, leg extensions, chest flies, cables. I mean, it's a very complete gym. If you rent an Airbnb and you get this good of a gym, you're gonna be really happy. And so I think they did a great job with that. So as we head out of the gym, we're gonna go down here to a few more amenities. Down here, we've got the squash court, which we'll check out in a second here. And then also they have a sauna here. So Panama can be hotter than Hades, but it is always nice to have a sauna in your apartment building. So they've got men's and women's sauna in here. A sauna, it is what it is. But that's really nice, even though Panama's hot. All right, so here we've got the squash court. Again, this is a new building, so it's a pretty brand new squash court. The only thing I wish is they had a little basketball goal right here too. But other than that, really nice amenity to have in an Airbnb. All right, so here we are in the co-working space. As you saw in that apartment, there wasn't a workstation, there was not a desk. But over here, we've got a really nice space. This would be an incredible place to work, hook up the computer, get some stuff done. You also got a really nice view here. And so, again, just a really nice amenity to have if you're in an Airbnb. All right, so let's talk a little bit about location of Arcadia del Este. This is one of the best locations in Costa del Este, in my opinion, and Prices Burn absolutely knocked this location out of the park. And that's because you can walk to almost everything that Costa del Este has to offer from right here. So in this building, we've got a coffee shop and 2 restaurants, including probably my favorite pizza place in all of Panama. And then you can walk to probably dozens of cafes, restaurants, and a couple bars within 5 minutes from here. So you're gonna have a lot of options there. On top of that, we've got Pacifica Salud Hospital, 6 to 8 minutes walking, 1 minute in car. That is a Johns Hopkins affiliated hospital. There's also a huge office building of doctors there. So a lot of your medical is gonna be right over there. Ray's Supermarket is about a 2 to 3 minute walk that way. And then on top of that, you're about a 7 to 10 minute drive from PriceSmart, which is the Costco of Panama. So that's nice as well. We've got the Town Center Mall over here, about 5 to 6 minutes walking. And then also right behind us is the Malecon, which is one of my favorite places to take a morning walk in Costa del Este. That's about 2 to 3 minutes walking from here. We've got the airport, Tocumen International Airport, right over there, about 15-minute drive from here, so pretty convenient to get to the airport quick. And then Costa del Este also has a number of school options for children. I don't know if this is the best building to raise your kids in, but if you want to, there's a handful of preschools here, along with some international schools that go all the way up to high school. One example of that is Boston International School. It's about a 15-minute walk from here, or about a 3 to 4 minute car ride. Excuse the horrible writing. I write like a doctor, it is what it is, but I want to talk a little bit about use cases of Arcadia del Este for an investor, someone who wants to invest in Panama. In this video, we've talked a lot about this property as an Airbnb. Let's switch that a little bit and talk a little bit more about investors. So the first type of individual that this property specifically is going to be great for is someone that wants to get Panama's qualified investor visa, which will grant them permanent residency and could have some benefits for them with taxes as well. Most of the apartments in Arcadia del Este are going to meet the minimum threshold for that qualified investor's visa of $300,000. So that's probably the number one reason someone might want to purchase here. Another thing about this property in Panama in general is it might work for crypto buyers. So most developers in Panama do not advertise anything about crypto, but due to some of the banks that they have in Panama, buying real estate in crypto is very viable. You can argue it's one of the top 5 countries in the world to purchase real estate with cryptocurrency. Shout out Bitcoin Panama. Third one is someone who wants to pop in and pop out. So we were just in the elevator, we were holding this, so obviously we looked a little bit goofy. And there was a couple from South Florida who had just purchased this week a property in this building, and they were using it basically kind of as like pre-retirees. They're planning to come down here for a month or 2, pop back up to Florida for work, and then once they retire, they're gonna be here full time. But they liked that they're able to rent this apartment short term, so they can also use it themselves when they wanna come down to Panama. And then last but not least, and I put some beautiful question marks on this, is yield. So due to Ley 80 in Panama, getting high cap rates, high yield on investment properties here can be a little bit more difficult than other places in Latin America. For example, Costa Rica or Colombia, you might have access to a higher yield on those properties. With this property, due to it being a short-term rental, you may get a better yield with that. I've seen different numbers from anywhere from 3 to 4%, which is kind of like the standard Panama City cap rate, all the way up to like 5, 6, 7%, which I think is a little bit optimistic. All right, let's talk a little bit about mass. So the 2-bedroom units in this building right now that are available, they're gonna be in that 300 to 350 range. A few that I've seen have been 325 and 340. They're gonna be for a very similar unit to this. I believe it's 76 square meters. And so that's kind of what you're looking for cost-wise. Again, that's going to qualify you for the Panama Qualified Investors Visa, which will give you the permanent residency. Now on Airbnb, since these are short-term rental units, due to my research, that I dug into it a little bit, we're looking at about $125 to $200 per night. Obviously, that's going to change a little bit on a weekly or monthly rate, but that's kind of what you're looking for when you're going to rent this out. Now, occupancy-wise, again, we don't have a specific property here we're looking at. We're just doing a more general review. And so we don't exactly have that data from like a past, a past owner that's had this on Airbnb. But if you do look on Airbnb, we're gonna pull up a calendar right here. We're going to show you this unit is pretty booked. I believe roughly, in the next 3 months, it looks like it's got about 75% already booked. So these do rent really, really well. I think you can expect an occupancy rate between 70 to 80%. And then expenses. So again, since we're not like showing a specific property that is available, I'm not gonna get too deep into that, but I do know HOA here runs about $200, $300 a month, depending on the apartment. And then obviously when you're renting this out, you're going to have property manager expenses. You'll have a little bit of property taxes, home insurance, things like that. So we won't run those exact numbers. But again, from based on my research, I think we're looking at, if you could get a 5% net yield on this, you would be doing really, really well. Anything above that is going to be, icing on the cake. And then last thing I want to say about Arcadia del Este, these units are very nice. So from an investment perspective, I don't really see anything that we can improve, right? Like there's not a huge thing. I mean, we could, like I said, we could put a king bed in there. We could put, a workstation, a desk with a monitor. That might help a little bit, but the reality is this building has been done at a very very high level. It's done very well. And so there's not really a lot that you could like improve or renovate in these units to increase your yield. That about does it for this tour of Arcadia del Este. If you are an investor looking to invest in Latin America, this is an interesting option. Number one, because you're going to get the qualified investor's visa here in Panama. And number two, because you are able to get consistent short-term rental cash flow with this building, which is a rarity in Panama City. If you like these type of property breakdowns and are curious about Latin America, that's what this channel is for. Invest in Latin America, invest in living. See you in the next video.